Agile method is used to develop a system fast. So if you want to implement the system quickly, for example, think about earlier days when Yahoo was introducing email facilities, Yahoo emails. I can remember first they released the alpha version. Then users gave some modification. According to that, they have again check the errors. First we release the alpha version, then again that launched one, again they have done some modification and rebuild and send. Alpha beta, then this is beta. Then next one, according to the user feedback, again modify and rebuild it. So mainly there are status, design, development, testing, deployment, review. So when they release the product and if user requests to do some changes, it will keep on doing. Another example, Windows 11. So as soon as Windows 11 came, I installed into machine. Okay, so at that time I had faced some issues with the black color screen. Quickly it is going to the black screen. Okay, so then again I roll back to the Windows 10. So after few months, that means somewhere like November, through the messages I got to know it has already fixed. That is, there are bugs. So again they release. Now it's working functioning very well. So there might be issues by the time they will be do the modification and update. So if the company is going to develop a system fast and with some kind of further iterative and incremental way, we call it as agile development. It is fastest develop application much more organized way. So it is developing in an organized way. So it uses the existing methods and modify them to suit the project requirement. So it first check the what are the project requirement, how to develop it. The tasks are divided into time slices. So if there are a big project to implement, so the task is divided into smaller slices, smaller parts to deliver specific feature for a release. So a main task is there, it is divided into smaller tasks and the smaller part is developed by the developers. Then finally all the parts are collected together and released. So for example, like you can say the iCube robot. Okay, there was a robot. That robot is iCube, programmed according to child behavior. So as I got to know about that, means there was robot age was 2 years. So that time robot could be able to understand how about the smooth and soft. So robot can hold the egg without breaking it. Okay, and put it to another position. So the robot brain worked like great year 2 years old kid. So they said finally every year they improve the brain of the robot according to the age. So I think that robot should be around 8 years, as I can remember. Yeah, robot should be 8 years. So robot's intelligence should be similar to the 8 year child now. Okay, so then in that brain, the robot's AI brain, the coding part has done by the Sri Lankan professor. Okay, so that's what I got to know. So the main thing is they have divided the task among the people who are involved, among the software engineers who are involved with the system, and small parts are given for one particular person, like person or group, and develop. So another example, Virtusa. Virtusa is building huge projects, but they are giving small parts of their project for Sri Lankans. So Sri Lankan build that part and giving to the Virtusa when they collect all together and they take the entire product. So normally there is a procedure how they will divide the project and give to the user. So it is iterative approach. So it is iterative, mean again and again there can be some modification and development. And software build is delivered after the each iteration. At the end of each iteration, software will deliver. The each build is incremental. So each build is incremental. Again and again, it is further developing at some parts. And the final product contains all the functionality. So final product release with all the functionality. And that are the that the user requests. So as user request, final product is released. The agile model is suitable for the system where requirements are fixed or unchanged. If the requirements are fixed and not going to change or is changing. So both factors are there, fixed or unchanged. If the requirements changes, have to start another iteration. So if it is changing, start another iteration. So like Windows 11, like Yahoo Mails. Okay. So it is an iterative approach, but there is a problem. So once they are building the system, if they handed over the system to another person, that means another team to do the coding, then they have to inform the code development team what they have done in the system. Otherwise, handing over the product will be issue. So agile method breaks tasks into similar iteration, small iteration. Divide the task into small pieces, small iterations, or parts do not directly involve a long-term plan. So it is normally around 3 or 4 weeks. Okay, so small iteration will be 3 or 4 weeks. So the project scope and requirements are laid down beginning of the development process. So how many iteration will be there, how they are, what is the scope, those things will determine in the beginning. Plans regarding the number of iterations, the duration of the scope of each iterations are clearly defined in advance. So in the beginning, in advance means before starting, they will plan how many iteration going to do, how many time they are going to take likewise. So this is the diagram what let me write down. Let me after recording, I'll let you to write. So requirements are collected, then design, develop, then testing, deploy mean hand over to the user review. So if the review mean taking, then if it is a software, it is release, launching. So if software product, Windows 11 Live, launching. So while usage, this plan should be a requirement. Okay, when you are writing, just write the requirement. So if first launch finishes, then if there are modifications, second launch is going on modification according to that. Then the third one. So likewise, there are mainly 6 steps: requirement gathering, design, develop, construction, testing, deployment, review, and feedback. So when we are consider about the important principle of the agile method, first one is satisfy the customer. According to the customer feedbacks, it will do the modification. Welcome the changing requirement. According to the user requirement, the team will do the changes. So deliver the working software frequently. So time to time that software product can be delivered. So face-to-face communication, other points no need. Face-to-face communication is there. If normally we do the feedbacks forums, okay, so even the face-to-face not there, we are giving some comments. So likewise, then I'll finish explaining, later we'll write. This one, each iteration is considered as a short-term frame. So one iteration called as a frame. So now how many iterations are there? 1, 2, 3. 3 frames, 3 iterations are there. So each iteration is called as frame. So agile process model, which typically lasts from 1 to 4 weeks. So one iteration, the time it will take around 1 to 4 weeks. The division of the entire project into small parts help to minimize the project's risk. So when we make it as a small parts, it minimizes the risk and to reduce the overall project delivery time requirement. So if everyone get together and go to develop, so it maybe can take time. So if we divide it and give to the development team, it can quickly finish it off. Then next one, uniform model, UML. It is not included in your syllabus, but just to know. So in design view, we use a UML in this industry. So industry projects, we use the UML, that is some kind of designing tool. Then next one, quality assurance going on, examine the product and check for the bugs. If there are bugs there, do the checking. So that this is a summary which I've taken from these two. That means these two slides we are not going to copy. The final one about the agile. When to use the agile model. So frequent changes are required. There are frequent changes when highly qualified and the experienced team should be available. So when we are going to develop agile method, because we have to divide the entire system into smaller slices. Therefore, a qualified, experienced people should be there in the team. That means we have to come across whether this one is matching with the whole product. So as I said about the iCube robot, so hand movement and the brain functionality should be joined together. So think about the brain is given to Sri Lankan and hand is given to Malaysian, and several countries will take several parts of the robot. But anyhow, or everything should work together. Therefore, experienced team should be there. When the customer is ready to have a meeting with software team all the time. So if there are any issues or any time, that customer is ready to get the meeting with the development. So customer is ready to have meeting with the software team all the time. The project size is very small. Why? Normally it will take, I told you, there are several iterations. Anyhow, first iteration will take around 4 weeks. So that means modification will take 4 weeks like that. So since it is divided among a large number of people, the project is divided into smaller slices. Okay, so pros mean advantages. So when we are going to think about advantages, frequently delivery, that means alpha, beta, gamma, likewise. The face-to-face customer can communicate with the client. Then efficient designing and fulfills the business requirement. So then good designing there, it try to fulfill the requirement. Then anytime changes are acceptable and reduce the total development time. Why? The reason the project requirement, the project task is divided with the development team. So the last one, advantages of agile model is, disadvantage, that means cons. Disadvantages, sometimes you can take a question, what are the pros and cons? Pros mean advantages, cons mean disadvantages. So if they ask what are the disadvantages, due to the lack of proper documentation. So they are not going to keep documentation. Why? One part is given to Sri Lanka, the other part going to give the Indian company, then another part given to the Australian company. Like us, if they divide the task into several people, then it creates a confusion when handover to the new team. Just think, Virtusa, in Sri Lankan Virtusa team, they are going to develop software. After a certain period of time, the people who are working changing and another new team coming. So then it is hard to teach that project for the new team and maintains the final product. If there are any maintenance of the finished project, can become difficulties. Why? People are no longer available in the team. Therefore, there can be difficulties. Okay, those are the things what you have to write. That means this slide, these two no need, this also no need. Okay, and slide 19, 16, 15, 14, and this one. Okay, shall we start writing?